Hey y'all, hey fam, welcome. Kristal's gonna be introducing herself in a moment, but as you're coming in, you see the question right here. What is your tip or mantra that helps you go with the flow? Your tip or mantra that helps you go with the flow, guys, because sometimes we just gotta flow. We're talking about mindset this month and next month, and we're gonna be talking about mindset with Kristal. She's done some amazing things with her nonprofit. We're gonna get into her story, but as you're coming in, let me know what's your mantra or your tip that helps you go with the flow. I know for me, it's one of my mantras. I talked about it last week. And it's I'm in the right place at the right time. Even my delays are divine.
I like that.
Your mantra, guys, that helps you go with the flow. That is it right there. And it just reminds me, everything's flowing. What's yours, Kristal?
Mine is passion keeps the drive going.
Passion keeps the drive going. All right. I like that. Passion keeps the drive going. Hello, fam. Hello. It's been a good week. I hope it's been a good week on your end as well. Add your tips in there, guys. We're about to dig in, and you guys are going to hear a little bit about Kristal and her nonprofit. She's just like you guys. She's just starting off. You're about how many years old?
1 year and
1 year old. 1
yeah.
year.
Yeah, 1 year and almost four months to be exact.
It feels like so much longer. It does.
Yep, we made it 1 year and 4 months to be exact.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. Tell us who you are, why you started the nonprofit, and what your nonprofit is all about.
Well, good morning to everyone who's watching this broadcast. My name is Kristal Gay. The name of my organization is Diversified Direction Foundation. We are based around performing arts, but also we have a sub program currently where we serve the homeless community. We, as you just heard, have been officially formed. We October the 10th of 2019. So we just made 1 year and 4 months, a little over 4 months now, and I am one of the founders, and also I carry the seat of president as well as treasurer for my organization.
Awesome. And so why did you decide to start the nonprofit?
Well, naturally, my heart is already big. It took me, I tell people all the time that you can walk around for years and not even know yourself. I walked around for 37 years and didn't even know who I was. And just to make sure people can follow what I'm saying is that sometimes as kids your minds are more open. When you become adults, your mind becomes more cluttered. So we forget a lot of things, or we choose to push a lot of things in the back, suppress it. And so spiritually I had to be broke down. And I was broke down for about 2 months. And my father loved me so much that he sent people my way to feed my spirit, because my flesh was stronger than my spirit at the time. And so, but that's when I realized that my past, which I thought was a flaw, but to my father was a beautiful thing, which got me to where I am today. As a child, I knew how we was at one point homeless. I know how to be. I forgot about the fact that we had been in a shelter before. So that's where my drive was coming from, as far as taking care of the homeless people. Prior to this, I had another nonprofit. It was called S&K Creative Possibilities. Prior to this one, and with that one, I was adopting families for Christmas and Thanksgiving out of my own pocket. I was up to 4 families for per holiday. And but over time, of course, the word got out and God started sending people, and the resources became in an abundance, of course. But then I grew into having back to school drives, and my back to school drives, I told God I wanted to stick out like a rare gem. And so he blessed me with the idea to bless children with uniforms. So little by little out of my check, I bought uniforms. And then over time, one day I prayed to God and I told him I wanted to have so much stuff it looked like a storefront. and I pulled it off in 2017. God bless me. I ended up teaming up with the Martin Luther King Center because I told him to send me somewhere where they're not already doing what my idea was. He blessed me with. So I teamed up with the Martin Luther King Center, and I had people delivering boxes of stuff per week to them. And not only did I have uniforms, but also school supplies. And I had to take pictures because God made it happen. When I say I had racks and racks and racks of uniforms by sizes up, and I told them I wanted to have boxes behind that stuff, and I did. I took pictures of it. I had boxes and boxes and boxes, and I think that was my second year working with the MLK Center. So by that year, they actually had a news station come out, and they came and interviewed me. Out
Wow.
of the people in the room, they interviewed me, and I wasn't even expecting it. And I was there the previous year, but the news didn't even come out. And what I found out later was that because of the uniforms for the center, which in my mind is like, hey, I'm a part of the team. It's enhancing a program that they already have, an event they already have, and it received so much attention that, to my understanding from the director over the center, we almost had people lined up almost back to the fair park, waiting to come in the building. They had to shut it down that year
Oh
because
my
it was
goodness.
just so many people, and I still had an abundance of uniforms and socks and things like that. Even after they shut it down, we were sweating. But
Wow.
needless to say, that's how I started. Because I remember how I didn't have when I was a child for this particular one. And my heart is just naturally big. So when I went into what you all know now is diversified direction, at this point, we pray so much and ask for so much, and sometimes we forget what we're asking because we ask for so much, and sometimes we look for Him to respond or give in the manner that you feel your mindset or have set your mindset to receive. But He's so loving and so giving to His children that He'll answer your prayers without you even know your prayers are being answered. And where I'm going with it is that with my previous one, I worked really hard and I received an award from the city of Dallas and
Wow.
everything by myself. It was hard, but I kept praying to God and telling him I needed a team. And I had at that time applied for my 501c3 twice, got denied, and I told God I didn't understand. And once again, I wanted the world, but I wasn't. I didn't understand then and I'm sure some people out here are probably gonna see this and understand what I'm about to say. I didn't understand then that I wasn't ready to receive the world, even though my mind was like, I want it, I should get it, my heart is right, I think I deserve it, but I wasn't.
That's a good point.
But I didn't realize I wasn't ready. Um, so I had to say that before I can get to where I'm at now. So, needless to say, I ended up starting a sisterhood. I called up all my friends at the time, which was 17 friends, and I started a sisterhood, and I called us Virtuous Women. Had never read it in the Bible, didn't even know a scripture even existed behind the word virtuous woman, but that's how God had covered me from beginning to end. And I remember getting us going to a friend and asking her to make some shirts because I told the ladies we will meet once a month. This is not the normal. I told them this is strictly business for me. I need to see who can get along with who. If you can't get along with one another on a friend level, how can you work together? So I said rules and everything, no negative energy, things of that nature. It was like about 5 or 6 rules. And of course, I ended up eliminating about 7 or 8 people, because I knew everybody, but everybody didn't know one another. And eventually it led to me making shirts. And this lady was like, hey, I want to do something special for you. And I was like, okay. And that's when I realized it was a scripture. And the woman printed the scriptures on the back of the shirts for a virtuous woman. And I said, wow, okay, guys. So that was him teaching us what a virtuous woman was. That's what I felt. And also him saying, daughter, I've been with you all the way. I'm going to mark you. I'm going to mark these ladies and I'm going to mark you. That's the way I took it. And so, needs to say, I don't even think I end up having them meet for even a year. But needs to say, I just called them one day and said, hey, y'all come to my house. I'm not going to feed you. I'm not serving any drinks. This is strictly business. Bring paper and pencil. Let's get it. And surprisingly, at this point, I had 11 women left. They came, and that's how we created the name Diversified Direction because of those women. That's how we figured out what programs we were going to have, which was at the time it was art, music, and dance. And surprisingly, I interviewed each one of them before we ended up having that meeting. Everyone wanted to have a nonprofit because I asked them if they want a profitable business or a nonprofit, so I could see how I can approach this with the ladies. And surprisingly, across the board, everyone said the same thing. And that's how I knew God was really in the mix. Everyone named the same programs, literally.
Wow.
I was amazed because I was taking notes. I was just like, this is unheard of. But literally, everyone was naming the same programs. So that's how we came up with the programs, and also having a sub program for the homes because they said they wanted to respect me since I'm the one who came to them with the idea, and they knew there was something that I really loved doing. Because at the time, I want to say maybe 2 years before I formed this particular organization, I had been telling God that I was going to take my daughter out on Christmas. I'm going to stop celebrating Christmas with her, and I'm going to bless someone else. And so, because I need her to understand how truly how blessed she is. As parents, especially depending on your background or just naturally, we want our kids to have so much, and we want them to be happy. And of course, no parent wants their child to grow up to be ungrateful, but sometimes it naturally happens because they feel like we have to do the things that they want us to do, not necessarily looking at it's only our job to provide necessity, not wants. But so that's what I did. I said you don't get gifts this year. This time you're gonna have to go to the store and pick out something that you wouldn't mind for yourself, having for yourself that you're gonna bless somebody else with.
All right.
So me and my daughter, I think we came up with like 7 or 8 bags, and we filled them up with food and items that she and I wouldn't mind someone giving us. I set the bar at like $20 at max. So at the time, I love scratch offs, and I forgot what my daughter put in there. Just things like that. And I took her. It was me, her, my niece, and one coworker. And my niece broke down and started crying because she realized how ungrateful she was acting with her mom, which was their objective. Because I remember her giving a knitted cap to a homeless guy, and he broke down and cried because we went out there on Christmas, and he broke down and cried, and it was so cold. And he said, "Thank you." And she said, "But all I gave you was a cap." He said, "That's all I needed." He said, "My head was cold."
Wow.
And he broke down and cried, and my daughter too.
Absolutely.
So now to this very day, my daughter doesn't carry herself in the same manner if she doesn't get something that she asked someone for, or she's more mindful of people's money and things like that, because it's been a continuous thing. But the ladies want to respect me in that sense. So we, to this day, still carry that tradition, even into this current program of treating the homeless like we want to be treated on Christmas, not ourselves.
That's awesome. That's an awesome tradition. One thing that I noticed, a couple of things here, is that number one, you're starting with the community around you. You started to build a community around the mission, and not only building community around the mission, helping the community, letting the community help you in defining the mission. Instead of just going in like, this is what we want to know. Okay, you guys want to do nonprofit or for profit? If I have this group, how can they put themselves into it? And that's one area that I noticed you have board members that are a little bit more involved when they can help in the creation process. And we're about to dive into those board members because you guys ask me questions about boards all the time. And I would say that Kristal has definitely had her experience with all different types of board members and and dealing with community. Sometimes it's just difficult, really being that leader and making sure you're standing up and being that leader when it's a community of people, depending upon how large they are, with different personalities, different backgrounds, different things going on in their lives. And so we're going to talk about some tips with that area specifically. But you mentioned so many good pointers in there. Number one, I see you're not afraid to start small. You're going to start with where you are. And sometimes our vision is so big, we can't take that small bite. Like, okay, what can I do this year? I don't have to wait till I have all of this that I can do for Christmas. What can I do right now? And that's a simple little tradition that you created with your family, and that came into the nonprofit as a tradition as well. Like, you know what? I spend money anyway. I think I saw a post or something like that last year that said, the half of what the United States spends on Christmas could literally wipe out world hunger. in just that one, it's like, so something you're already doing, how can you divert that to something for the community? Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. You say love the background.
Oh,
yes, I was saying I love those pictures. Those pictures I'm loving them. Absolutely. She said that's good, recruiting friends to join your mission. I will ask you.
Let's discuss
about that. Okay, let's get into that.
Y'all forgive me, but let's talk about that.
All right, board members, friends. How do you feel about that?
Let's touch on all that right there. I was waiting on Tracy to stop talking so we can touch on this, so we can all be together.
Absolutely.
Let me say this. My husband and I had read I think it's called the 48 Laws of Power. And I just want to throw this out there. And it's funny how human beings walk around like, oh no, that's not it. I'll be good. We all right. So I'm going to tell y'all something that's the most realest thing that I can share with anyone who's watching this cast. Seriously. One of the rules for them, in that book, if you ever take time to read the book, is, pretty much never go in business with your family or your friends. And I knew that going into this, but I'm like, no, I've been knowing these ladies for years. Some of them over a decade. I'm just throwing this out there for everyone who's watching this, okay? And one of the things that I learned, and one of the things that my husband told me, and I'm going to look in the camera when I say this, and this was the most the realest thing that stuck with me that my husband said, because it came with trials and tribulations. Okay. And one thing I'll say to whoever sent Tracy that is this, you can have a person in your circle for so many years. I'm talking about 10, 15, 20 years, maybe 30, depending on your age category. But sometimes you can have a person around you and not even know that person. And then what I mean is that your friendship has never been challenged. Think about what I'm saying. You never challenged the friendship to really see what kind of friendship you really have in that person. And that was the problem for me when it came down to me creating my board, when it came down to me creating my members, me creating what I was trying to walk into a mindset of these are my business partners. Because I have been knowing these ladies 10, 15 years or plus, believe it or not. But the thing is that I never put them in a true challenging, not saying we didn't bump heads sometimes, I mean a challenging position to really know who they really were prior to this. And it was funny because God was so good that he knew who I had around me, but I didn't know. So he had to use this platform for me to understand who I had around me, because it challenged them. I was telling Miss Tracy, which is why she had asked me to be on her, and I was saying, I said, I don't even know if you remember, girl, but I was calling her when she first helped us to get our 501c3 and things like that. I was calling that woman, seemed like every other week, girl, crying. Girl, they are doing this, and girl, they're doing that, and how am I supposed to do this? And I can't believe they're doing that. And for anyone who's on here that is have friends around them and they are in a position as the president, as the founder, I want to say this to you. When I told you all that you can walk around and I know yourself, and what I'm going to say is this, is that I guess you could say I walked around so humbly that I didn't even understand the title that God had gave me. It wasn't until he brought me down that I realized, and this is for anyone who's on here in the same situation as myself, we are naturally born leaders. When he created us in perfect form. And because we are natural born leaders, the weight of the world sits on our shoulder. We are constantly being washed. People are ready to crucify us as if we're Jesus hanging up on the cross as they did him, where it could be someone that is equal to them. They can probably commit to the same issues or have the same flaws as you, but they won't hold them to the highest regard that they're going to hold you to, which makes it so challenging. And I didn't understand it. And that was my problem with having friends and me being in the role that I was in. And I didn't understand that was my title that he had gave me, and along with that title that he had gave me, those burdens come along with it. But because he broke me down and rebuilt me, now I have a different approach. And when you're going through these things with these boys or anyone that sits at the table around you, it's all training. when you're starting out. It's all part of the training, and I had to open my eyes and understand what I had going on around me, and as you will too. It's all a part of training. And when I say training, meaning this, back to what she was saying earlier, which is true. Even with your friends, you're being groomed to understand that even with your business, because at some point your vision should be that you want to grow beyond where it's at. So meaning that you have to understand that you're going to have turnovers.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to remain. And because you're going to have turnovers, which means what? Different personnels are going to be coming in and out your door, in and out your face, and meaning that each and every time that you're facing those adversities, then what it should be doing for you as the founder, as the leader in the for your company, is it should be strengthening you to be more wise on how you approach situations. And so I had to sit back. At first, I was hurt, my feelings were hurt, and I was angry and things like this because I couldn't believe I was going through or why. And then I sat back and I said, you know what, thank you, Father, because you had to start me out with people who I knew. So when I do have other people behind these people, when I know I will encounter this situation again, but now I know how to approach it on a more business mindset. Because see, I already knew how to separate business from personal, but a lot of people don't, which probably can be another problem for anyone who wants to have family or friends a part of your organization. A lot of people don't know how to separate the two. And that was a problem for a lot of them. Where I could, they couldn't. So I just want to throw that out there as well. That can be a handicap if you are one person that's like that. But if you can just look at it in the mindset of, if you're going through some things and people are coming in and out or challenging you, you should say thank you. I thank you for doing it, because now you strengthening me in the area that I lack knowledge in, or you strengthening me in the area that I felt weak in. So now when I move forward with my organization or my projects, I know how to handle myself.
That's good. That's good. And that's part of going with the flow, is looking for the lesson. You know, because ultimately, I'm a firm believer in, last week we were talking about how you have 4,000 to 5,000 thoughts on a daily basis. And from those thoughts, that ignites how you feel, what you attract, what you do, what action you do. So ultimately, the people around you are people that you've attracted into your life for some reason.
For some reason.
So if you can pull, like, what lesson can I pull from this? How can I, okay, what am I, that's just a whole different perspective.
It is.
Going through. The question we asked earlier is, how do you flow? And it's funny, you come back around to people and having people that you're building with. If you're building with people, or if you live with people, or if you live on this earth with other people, it's always going to be a flowing, because technically you really don't know somebody until you're building together. A lot of people say you don't know anybody until you travel with your friends. Because y'all build, y'all together now, y'all eating together, waking up together, feeling, you know what I mean? It's the same thing as with when it comes to, that's why a lot of times when we have more children, that's a rebuilding of our relationships and things like that around us, because now we're going through something together and we're learning and developing together. If you start a nonprofit, learning and developing together, showing up for board meetings, what priority this project is on your plate right now, and being real about that.
And being real.
It's just about being real. Like, you know what? I can't. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago, and I love the way that the question that they asked. They said, "Do you have the bandwidth to take this on?" Like, you know what? No. I'm glad. Thank you. I don't. I'm glad the way you asked me was perfect, because I don't have the bandwidth right now. Right now, I know my plate is full. So instead of me not showing up with my all, because I'm the type of person that whatever I'm doing, whatever those focus things are that I'm focused on, I'm giving it my all. I want to be 1,000% there. So if you can't do that, for people who are thinking about serving on boards, really think about that and think, like, you know, what can I really give them? Is this going to be beneficial? How can I really contribute? So would you suggest?
If I can suggest for anyone who's watching this, as a startup, something that I didn't do but I do now is to avoid having someone on your board that may lack in those areas of conversation that we're having now. What I do now is I created a tier system. And I suggest that to anyone who's watching this, a tier system, meaning that I had to really figure out who was worthy enough. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth, because this is my baby. This is my baby. And I don't want no one to mistreat it. And if you're going to come into it, I want you to feel the same way I do, because anyone who works with me now understands that I respect their creative side, and you have my full support. And the reason why I respect it and you have my support is because I want you to feel the same thing I feel. If you feel the same thing I feel, you'll give me just as much energy as I give it myself, which means 100%. Without me asking for it, it'll flow naturally. So, if you create a tier system, I think it'll help anyone's organization better. So my tier system is you have to come in as a volunteer. And I actually have it out in writing, and people have to sign a document to understand what they're walking into with me now. And I don't have a defined time limit on the volunteer because of course, we're in COVID times. So I don't know how active or non-active we can be. But the point is, even before that, I didn't have one because I had to take my time. Because I'm dealing with children. And I need to see your temperament and things like that. I need to have more than one sit down with you or observing moment with you to really make sure that you're fitting to be a part of this program. And from the tier system of being a volunteer, of course, we will go back to the board and have a discussion. And if I don't have a board or you don't have a board, then it'll be just you as the founder. Sit down and really have a moment of self-thought. It's a process, but you need to be documenting every time that they come to an event, every time that you've asked them to do something. You need to have a ledger where you can keep that stuff, so you can always have a point of reference to go back to, because you have so much going on in your life, I'm sure. And then once you do that, then you can go into another tier system, which I use. Is called you now are a member. And then my being a member, it comes with more responsibilities than it did, of course, as a volunteer, because a volunteer necessarily doesn't bind you. It's more of a free will, so I need to know how much you really want to do this off your free will. So now your membership, you don't have as much free will anymore, because now you're going into an actual position that comes with responsibilities. And once again, you want to have a ledger as well for that, or some kind of system to keep track of their responsibilities and make sure they're doing it. And what I ended up doing was, over time, I ended up creating an evaluation sheet. So I would perform a 90-day evaluation or a 30 or 60-day evaluation, and I would give it to them so they can see what my expectations are or where they're lacking at, to get an opportunity to fix it. Because some people want to immediately go on your board. They say, well, I've done this and I've done that. That's fine. Let me tell you where you're lacking. I'm going to treat you like you do when you go into that 9-to-5 job that you have. I'm going to treat you the same way, because it still a business. I don't want you to think because I'm not paying you that you don't need to respect it as such. It is. And you're going to respect me as such. So I'm going to treat you like that. And so it's just a suggestion to you. It kind of helps the flow of your business a little more than it would without having the structure. There we go. You're creating more of a structured system.
It sounds like you created a system, and with creating a system, you're also setting the tone for the relationship.
Correct.
That this is a serious thing. Another thing that I just suggested in one of the videos was having before your board members come on, having a board member invite. What are their expected responsibilities? Make it informal. Make sure they know how much time they need to dedicate for both volunteers, members, board members. So it sounds like to me, when they are seeing this system and they see that you're taking things seriously, a lot of times that people say this personally as well. No one's going to take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously.
Correct.
Well, no one's going to take your nonprofit seriously if you're not setting the tone of taking your nonprofit seriously. So it sounds like you've come up with a system to really be able to get through. And I understand exactly what you're saying, on not only knowing yourself, but knowing the people around you.
Right.
You don't really know the people around you till you see how they really move.
Correct.
So, I'm not a big in the personal world, or sometimes even in the business world, the conversation of its side. You guys probably get the most of the conversation of its side for me. I'm really big on, okay, let's start a project together. Let's do something together. Because it can be such a difference between the conversation. So it won't typically be a lot of long conversations with me. I'll immediately start moving with you because I can find out really quickly who I'm dealing with, or what your priorities are, and things like that. And so that's what you
everybody else, but everybody might not be on your level.
Exactly.
And that's a good point. But everyone may not be on your level. That's why I said someone maybe like me. I'm not gonna say you walk around green. I'm not gonna say you're walking around green, but maybe your heart can supersede the business side. Sometimes the heart can get in the way of the business side, so you have to come back and you gotta level it off. You can still have the heart in it, but you need to keep it at a level of balance. So
Absolutely.
what the business can be to be a factor in it to really make sure that it's becoming more, you're receiving the results you're looking for. And that's how we get into this. And it's funny because what Miss Tracy was trying to tell you all is that whole board that I had, or that whole team that I had coming into this, I don't have them anymore. I really prayed about it, and I really prayed, and then that's when I was telling her earlier that I sit on the board for my union for my job, and so I didn't realize all the time I've been praying. He had already been answering my prayers, so he gave me a seat at the table. So I could understand what a president role is, a secretary role is, a recording secretary role is. He's even gave me a seat on the audit committee for my union, so I can understand what the CPA is going to be requiring of my organization when he blesses me with the funds that I'm looking to receive. And I know how to move to make sure I notate certain things when I'm going out on business meetings. If I want to treat you and pay for your food out of our account, I know how to document those things because he gave me a seat at the table. And that's why I'm going back with this for anyone who's listening. Once again, sometimes you can ask for so much and not even be ready to receive the world. And so, back in September, I started laughing because he had me to go back and just, I know it's going to sound crazy, but just something simple as an email. Previously, from the last one, I looked in the light. I just started laughing. I said, oh my God, I was sending out emails that look like that versus now. See, now when I send out my emails, I created a signature automatically. It has all my information, even our logo and everything. I wasn't doing none of that at first. It's just funny how over time, if you really had a passion and you really want to do it, it just comes naturally. Your wisdom should become even more stronger than what it was last year or the year before. It's just a natural thing. And I was telling her, this is for anybody who's listening. If you really truly have a passion, and I tell people this when they try to come to this organization, if you really, really, truly have a passion, you'll never feel like you're working. Your passion is what allows you not to feel like you're working. The reason why people don't want to work is because they feel they don't want to do it, which means it's work. But people who love their job, why they love it? It's because they love what they're doing. It's a passion. It's what keeps the drive going, which makes the flow just come naturally, like the running waters of the river.
That's right. So it becomes a labor of love. Instead of working hard, you're working smart. You're working on something you're passionate about. So when you have those rough spots, you're like, that's okay. This is my passion. This is what I'm called to do.
Right.
And like Lloyd said here, everything is training and training is everything. So when you're going through those bumps, you're like, okay, this is a training process. Now I'm understanding. Another thing that I see that definitely stood out with your story is the fact that you really realize that developing yourself, as you develop yourself, the world develops around you, the people develop around you. If you focus on, okay, how can I now have a seat at the table? Let me learn from this. Let me pick up, like you said, now let me look at, wow, my emails have changed because I've been developing myself over this period of time. And now my nonprofit has changed as well, but it starts there.
Exactly.
It starts right there with that.
With me.
That's work. That's the work right there. It's finding who you really are, what your passions are, what your gifts are, and things like that. Before we go here, because I know you have another engagement after this, I know a lot of people wanted to know a little bit about the grant process. We were going to dive into that a bit because you guys did get awarded a couple of grants in your first a little over a year. So any tips in that area and getting now on the three grants, correct? That's been the big number this year.
Yeah, we received 3.
That's awesome.
And I know I probably sound redundant, but it's true because he's in the forefront of it all. Without God, we can't do nothing. And I'll be as brief as possible with it. But of course, the first one we got was the SBA. Just so for people who know, we can have an open discussion. We got the SBA. The second one we got from Walmart. And I'll tell you a short story because I really want to inspire people to understand that you too can be just like me. I have a community around me. Some are like-minded nonprofit organizations and others are not, but I have a community around me. I was telling Miss Tracy that I'll be brief before I can go into this. We received our, and I started gonna write a book, and this too could be you, but October the 10th, 2019 changed my life. We received our 501c3 exactly 2 weeks after that. And I want y'all to be mindful of something. These people I had never met. I only talked to them on the phone. Immediately, 2 weeks after that, I met the mayor. I'm sorry, the councilman of DeSoto that issues out grants. Someone referred her to me. I didn't even know who I was talking to. I was just telling her about the organization, telling her what we were trying to do. And she was just like, Kristal, you even know who you're talking to? And I was like, no. And she had to tell me. And I met the art director for the city of DeSoto. Eventually, I ended up meeting her after talking to her for so many months. Eventually, I got to meet the head lady in charge over the DeSoto administration building who also does grants. And she became, to this day, she's my mentor. She worked with me for 6 months before I finally got to meet that lady and embraced me with open arms and held nothing back. She referred me to so many people without even knowing me personally, but on a spiritual level, we knew each other, if it makes sense. She introduced me to her best friend. Her best friend had probably been in this business probably as long as I've been living. And she welcomed me with open arms because of a referral from her best friend. And I can go to her to this day. She's also my mentor. And that's how I got a little more structured as well because of these ladies. Or I surrounded around myself around like-minded people so they can help to groom me to be what I need to be for myself, for the organization, so I can groom others as they come behind me, a part of the organization. And so when I went to Walmart, because one of those ladies referred me, I went there on a donation. I had submitted a letter, and I don't know about nobody else, but I'm like a gnat. You're gonna know who I am until I get what I want. So I literally went up to that Walmart. It seemed like if not twice a week, I went there on the week to the point where the employees started to really know who I was. As soon as I walked through the door, they already knew I was there. And then one particular day, I had already met the store manager one time, but it was raining. So I just ran to my car and gave him my business card. And he told me to submit the letter. So I did. And I hadn't seen him no more. And I kept on calling. I couldn't never get a hold of the lady. It was over it or him, nobody. And so one day I said to myself, when on my way to my doctor's appointment, I'm going to go up there and see if I can catch a moose early in the morning. Wasn't nobody there. I said, okay, when I leave, running my errands, going to the doctor, running my errands, I'm going to go back up there. And I was on my way home. I said, wait a minute. Oh, no, devil, you ain't finna do that. It's the reason why you don't have this on my mind. I said, I was going to go up there. So I turned my car around. I went to the Walmart, and lo and behold, I walked in the door and the store manager was there. So I walked up to him, and if you would have walked up to me and him, you would have sworn that I've been knowing this man forever. But it's just, I thank God for my kindred spirit. I can naturally, just walk up to someone and make them feel like they've been knowing me forever. And we ended up talking, and needless to say, he was like, Kristal, what do you want? Like a homegirl. I was like, what do you want? I was like, dude, I just told you I left you this letter. I need this art supplies for these kids because I was getting ready for an event. I need your help. Like, let me know what's up. I was talking to him just like this, not on no business formal. I just talked to him like I am. And he's like, Kristal, did you apply for a grant? I didn't even know Walmart had a grant, y'all. I didn't even know. And I said, no, you told me to do the letter. Was the letter not good? He said, Kristal. He said, let me tell you what I want you to do. He said, I want you to go straight home. He said, I want you to apply for my grant. He said, and when you're done, he said, I want you to email me. He was trying to give me his business card. And I told him, I said, dude, I don't want your business card. I said, I already know your info. I said, then because I had told him that his goon squad wouldn't let me talk to him on the phone. So you got your little hound dogs holding, watching the phone. So I ain't never talked to him. But anyway, so he said, no. He said, I'm serious. He said, go straight home and apply for a grant. And he said, once it's done, he said, email me, say it's done. He said, Kristal, I'm going to approve it. He said, tell me what you want and I'll approve it. He said, that's better for you than what you asked for in that letter. You can do so much more. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then right before I was going to leave, I said, you know what? I began to ask him questions about how, where he lacked as far as employees. And we engaged in a conversation like this. So then before I left, I said, if I can send you, because I started thinking about my homeless community, I'm going to be honest. So I said, if I can find some good workers and you were hiring at the time, can you give me your word that you will hire them on the spot if I submit their name by email to you for you to pull the application? And he told me, you got my word.
Wow.
I would do that for you. And in all honesty, in the process, everything that had happened until I got in my garage, then I broke down and I started crying because, I started thinking to myself, everything pretty much that I was putting in my business plan was starting to come into fruition, which that was one of the things that I put in my business plan, that I want to be in a position to help either employ people or get people employed.
Mm-hmm.
And so to this day, I can email him and say, hey, are you hiring? I got somebody with you because I got somebody I need, and he still has my back to this day. And
That
so,
is awesome.
hmm
That is awesome.
but the third one, what happened was, I, you know, I, I, I always express to my team, don't never leave the house looking any kind of way. Um, I told them because you never know who you're running to. And myself, I had set up a photo shoot for my team. I paid for it, and they felt like the queens of the world. It was for business. And I told them they was going to have a business card. I made them get a Google number. I said, start giving out your personal numbers. And I told them they are not allowed to represent DDF, giving nobody a verbal point of contact. You are to give them your business card. I said business people get respected because they act like business people. If you're going to engage on a business level, you need to be prepared to give them information like a business person. So I had them to create, to do business. I paid for their business cards, created a photo shoot to have business attire on. I limit them and told them what they could and could not wear. I was very firm and stern on it. And so they have business cards and things, and they all have their own Google numbers. And I made them go out and create separate emails outside their personal emails related to the business as well to put on there. And just for people that's on here as well, it's good if you can set your nonprofit under a PO box and not your personal information, because I started out as everything was linked to my personal. So right now I'm in a transition of taking everything out of my personal, and we have a PO box. And PO boxes are good because they're really cheap. You don't need a real big one, just a little one, just for your mail to go in. And you only pay every 6 months. Just a rule of thumb to help some people out on here. And I think we probably pay maybe $50 every 6 months for a PO box. You want to have that, to help you.
And you want that PO box, guys? Like that's for your website donations. Anytime you
Yeah.
get information, if you're not legally set up, Kristal's already legally set up. But if you're not legally set up, when you go to get legally set up, they're going to want they need a physical address on that part. So I just don't want you to make a mistake on that. But when it comes to everything else, all that public information marketing, that should all be PO box. UPS store also has one that's set up. It looks like a suite, more like as opposed to the PO box. And then there's also virtual mailboxes. So the good point. Thank you.
Yeah. So when we ended up going to, I went to a different Walmart.
Okay.
And actually, I had my business partner. I gave her the task. I'll be completely honest. I'm a little, I guess you could say, antsy. Like when I ask you to do something, I want it done. And if you don't, I'm one of the people that just got to go get it done because I want it done. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to work on that. Y'all pray for me. We having honesty right now. I'm just gonna be honest. But needless to say, I ended up going in there in that Walmart doing the very thing that I didn't got on my team about. I had just left the gym looking a hot mess. And I went in that store, and I don't know. I knew it was a store manager. And not that I had met him per se, like casually, but I knew it was a store manager. And at the time, we were trying to get donations from him too for a new project. So I'll be honest, I tried my best to get out that store, but the spirit would not let me leave. It forced me back over there to talk to him. I was so irritated. I never do. But then I said, okay, God, I get it. I can't be a person that is a voice of forcing things on others if I'm not going to be a doer myself. So I said, I get it. It wasn't until after I said, I looked like a hypocrite. Only one thing, I'm not doing it. So it's funny how he works.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be a practicer of what you put out. And so, but needless to say, I went over there and talked to the man, and we talked for I don't know how long, looking a hot mess. I just every time I think about it, shake my head. But because I wasn't even matching y'all. But anyway, Jesus. But before I knew it, he told me he had my back. Okay. He told me take care of me, and he did. I went up there one day. He gave me cash money.
Wow.
Set up a meeting. I had a meeting with him probably a month or two ago. And he wanted me to, and he kind of found out he wasn't even a store manager. I thought he was. He was just one of the managers. It's funny how God works, but he still took care of me. I didn't even realize that. And he made sure I had his personal contact, so I would never have a problem with communicating with him or anything. He stayed in communication with me on the process of everything. I was just, it's people's like, how did you get his number? I said, he gave it to me. I didn't ask for it. And it wasn't never nothing like I'm trying to talk to you or anything. It was strictly business. He was really professional and respectful. But it's just how things flowed.
That's it.
And it was just that simple. And I just couldn't believe, like, wow. And to this day, we still have funding in our account. And periodically, we just surprisingly, we just get random donations. People that know me, that just really believe in what we stand for, and they just hit me up and say, "Hey, what y'all do y'all have? How do y'all receive payments and things like that?" And I'm like, oh, "Okay," and I'll send some. They send money, and it just continues to go like that. I just say when you really, really are sincere about what you do, it becomes infectious. There we go.
Absolutely.
It becomes infectious because you'll be surprised that there's a lot of like-minded people around you. You just have to have the right conversations or be in the right setting.
Yeah, you have to show up. You have to show up. So you have to show up, and you have to know, like you said, the first part there, revealing those layers. And sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom. It was the same thing for me, Kristal. I told you my story, I think, when we first started talking. But it was the exact same thing. I had to hit rock bottom and be like, you know what? Because you're forced into that faith walk. Like, okay, and nothing else to do. Might as well trust you, because what else could I do here?
What else could I do?
Having that experience, you have that as a foundation sometimes. And it's like, okay, so that's my foundation. So my rock bottom compared to what my rock bottom was, and my foundation, and that as a foundation to anything else is like, really? Y'all tripping over this? Really? It's like, okay, I'm good. Y'all don't know what I've been through. You know what I mean? So like, I'm good. There's no embarrassment. There's no, when you've gotten to the point where everything has been stripped from you for whatever reason. And now I feel like that's the best time in my life. I'm glad that I lost my home. I'm glad that I lost my business. I'm glad that I was in one of the worst relationships of my life, because I would never have been able to be where I am now without having that yin and yang, having that to say, oh, okay, from there, let me have that appreciation. Because like you said about teaching your little ones and things like that, sometimes it's that the appreciation is missing. We kind of create these gaps because we want to, like you said, give our kids more than what we had, and give our kids. And sometimes we're not purposefully, in a loving way, but not giving them that opportunity to really have that appreciation. So that was a huge point. And I want to hone in on what you said about all those grant. Every last one of them, of course, the SBA and the things going on with COVID was something totally unique to everybody. But everything you talked about was about relationships. From the moment you created what you created with the Christmas program with your daughter, from the moment.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. That was a me and Tracy moment, because I didn't tell. We didn't tell them. That was a us moment.
The Christmas program? I thought you were telling me that. Oh, okay.
Ooh, they don't know.
They don't know. Okay, so she was talking about so I'll fill you guys in when she first started with the Christmas, because we did start talking right before. When she first started, she started taking her daughter. I'll let you tell the story really quickly, and then we'll wrap up here, because I know you got to go.
She's so funny. I was like, maybe Tracy, they can't follow you. This was
But it's all about relationships.
It is.
That you really focused on building a better relationship with your daughter, showing her the relationships you can have with other people who don't have, building that relationship with that group of 11 women, whether some fell off or whether it worked out or not, that was there for a time. Like they say, some people are here for a time, reason. Sometimes it just flows like that. And with the grants, they're based around relationships as well. You go and showing who you are, them letting you know who they are. Sometimes people think it's something other than that. And so I just wanted to hone in on the fact that you building those relationships. These people who are approving things, they're real people too. So they want to see your face. They want to see what you're really about. They want to see what you really need.
And time brings growth. So I don't mind telling you this, because something I didn't know before. But basically, to make a long story short, I had a previous nonprofit before I had this one. And I didn't understand what she's saying. It wasn't that someone didn't talk to me about it, but I still didn't have an understanding of it. And relationships do go far, especially your local businesses. And I want to get closer. Your local businesses are going to be your key things as far as startup nonprofit organizations. You want to really get a really good relationship with a lot of them, which is why I'm sharing my moments with each one of these, because they're two different stores. They're the same store, but two different stores, which means two different relationships, two different benefits, you know. And I am working on others. Like I even have a relationship with Buffalo Wild Wings managers, things like that. Anytime I go out, I say, you know what? Every time I step out this door, I'm gonna have my business cards ready and ready to have a conversation. Let me see who's on their shift, because you never know what all they can offer you, and that's what's really gonna get you where you need to be. Because those people even know people once they see how business structured you are, how serious you are about your business. You never know where all it can go. It's just a never ending thing. But what she was telling you is that um before this particular organization, before the last organization, I just one day I told her, I said, I just wanted to, I told my daughter we weren't gonna celebrate Christmas. You don't get a Christmas. And she didn't understand why. She was way younger. And I told her, because I said, it's somebody, I said, we're gonna do something different. I said, we're gonna set a budget and you're gonna go out there and buy something for someone else that you wouldn't mind mommy buying for you, but you're gonna bless it to someone else. So I set the budget at $20 a paycheck. I don't even know. I mean, I probably didn't even have a budget. We just went out there, just picked stuff. So I wanted her to learn how to be unselfish, and also, taking her out there in the community, showing her how truly blessed she is. Even if I tell you I can't buy it right now, you don't need to get mad. Or if I don't buy you the brand of shoes you desire, and I buy you another kind, you still need to be grateful, because there's someone out there that still wish they had what you have. That's right. At the end of the day. And I was telling Miss Tracy, it's a natural thing as a parent. We want to see our babies happy. We want them to have the world. Even if sometimes they bad is I don't know what, we still want them to have the world. We don't want our babies to grow up unhumble and ungrateful. But sometimes it naturally comes because they're kids. They're thinking on a kid level. And so I just said, you know what, I want to take her out there. I already do it. Let me take her out there. But this is something different. I ain't never done this before. So we ended up having so many tall size gift bags. We filled all the mobile food, but along with items that we didn't mind getting for ourselves. And I told her it was my daughter, my niece, and one coworker. I never forget, one coworker. And the two babies broke down and they cried because I was telling her something as simple as just only a knitted cap. When she handed it to the guy, I took a picture of it. He just broke down and cried and told her that was the nicest gift to receive. And I remember I remember my niece, she said, but all I gave you was a cap. It was, and he said, but it's cold outside. That's all I need. Wow. And that probably only cost us $1, but to him it was $1 million. Is what I was trying to show the kids. It's not the value at all. It's the necessities. That's right. And so I was telling Miss Tracy before we got online with you all, as a respect to me when I started this current, because I did it a lot in my last one. It was just me by myself. But with this current, the ladies respect me and wanted to keep that going. So to this very day, we still do that. So I think this past Christmas was the first time came up with the idea, and I bought a Christmas tree. And I put it out there in the homeless. I went out there to the homeless community a few times before we went out there, and I told them I was coming. I even asked a few of them if I can buy you anything. What would you like? A lot of them told me shoes. Some of them told me backpacks. I got the shoe sizes and everything. I want them to have brand new shoes. And I put them in gift bags. And I told them, I said, I'll be over here. Come over here and get it. I'll make sure you get it. And this past Christmas, we took pictures. If you're going to want to get information out, you can go on and look it up. We decorated the tree the best of our abilities, because with COVID, things are limited. But for them, it was the most beautiful thing. We put a Christmas tree out there. We set up our music equipment so they can dance and stuff. And I told the ladies that no one is to trip with them. I want them to feel like they did when they were kids. And I said, meaning that when you came down the stairs or around the corner out your room, you saw all them gifts up under the tree, you just got to grab it and open it. I want them just to be able to grab whatever they wanted. And we put so much stuff under there. And it was funny because you knew God was in the midst, because random people just started pulling up, asking, can they add to our tree? They just started adding stuff under their tree. Wow. And then people started coming over asking us if they could feed the people. They had food, can they feed it? It was crazy this year. It was just all kind of random kind acts just coming and engaging with us. And people were just leaving us smiling. They got was just what I wanted.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And when you start moving, it sounds like when you start moving, things just start flowing with it. So you're taking those first steps and people add to it. Money follows money in a sense. So sometimes when you're doing with what you have, they're like, okay, I can add to that. Thank you so much, Kristal, for coming on. I want to get you on to the next thing. I know still went a little bit longer, but you gave so many nuggets and gems. I really appreciate it. Guys, all of her information is going to be in the description and in the comments if you're watching from Facebook. So if you want to volunteer, she's in the Dallas, Texas area, correct?
Correct.
If you want to volunteer, if you want to possibly, of course, you could only volunteer. That's the first tier right there. So volunteer or donate or get involved in any kind of way, please feel free to reach out to her. Just a quick news before we let you all go. I think that as far as the SBA and the EDL second round has been fully released to the public, not just private. So I am going to be doing an update about that next week, guys. And so I'll see you next week live on that, probably early on Monday or Tuesday, because next week is my birthday. So, yes, I can't wait. Wednesday, y'all. Wednesday is my birthday. So,
happy early birthday.
Off. Yes. When is your birthday, Kristal?
June 19th.
June 19th. What sign are you?
Gemini.
That's you know what? That's crazy. I was just talking about a Gemini yesterday, and I was like, I don't know many Geminis.
No, you know.
Well, there we go, right there. Okay, that's duh. Well, yeah, I don't know. She said your sister is Gemini. And I was like, oh, duh. All right, well, it was so good having you on. I'll let you get off to your next one. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and we will see you all in the next live. Have some self-care this weekend. Make sure you're taking time to take care of you so that you can be able to take care of everyone else as well. All right, see you in the next one.
See you.